So this is going to be a guide on how to beat Radahn as a casual player. Nothing serious like hitless, but it's also not a cheese method. He's a really hard boss and requires a lot of observation and patient gameplay, but once you figure him out, it's really rewarding. First things first, please level up your scatter tree. The DLC introduced a new level up mechanic, suck it up and go look for them. I'd recommend at least 16 and above. I'd also recommend fighting him with a high rune level. Anything above 170 should be okay. Also make sure your stats are very polished, every point counts, so respec if you need to. It's also time to abandon the drip because you'll want to put on the best armor set you have to negate damage, but make sure you are still medium low so you roll properly. I'd also like to talk about talismans. There's no shame in building around the last boss. I personally like to use the Crimson Seed for a better healing. You'll learn quickly that survivability is key to this fight. Also the Dragon Crest Great Shield for physical damage negation and the Holy Blade for holy damage negation. Again, both of these going along with the staying alive. Last slot is up to you. It's best to have something that complements your weapon or build, hopefully something that boosts your damage. This boss requires good knowledge on his timings and attack strings, so it's best to go in with the mentality to learn and you'll naturally get better once you get used to his moves. That being said, I'll go over how I dealt with most of his attacks. You want to be as clean as possible for the first phase because he's relatively calm and less punishing. Most of his second phase moveset is a derivative of his first phase moveset, so a strategy I found very helpful is to practice your dodges and timings with the second phase in mind. I'll go into more detail as we see the specific moves. So he'll most likely open the fight with his gravity spin move. You can dodge this easily by waiting till he's right above you. This move stays the same for both phases and has a good punish window, so be sure to look out for it. The gravity pull-in can be a tricky move to dodge if you actually get sucked in, so the best thing to do is dodge the initial pull. You can identify the pull by when he crosses his swords with the gravity magic effect. The roll timing is very generous, so just dodge when you see his swords come up. If you do get caught in the pull, stay calm and run back a bit and spam dodge backwards when you see his swords about to go down. One thing to note is that if you're too close to him even after you dodge the initial pull, there's still a chance he sends out the second half of the attack, so to avoid this try to run or roll backwards after you dodge the initial pull. In the second phase, the move gets amped up quite a bit. If you get sucked in, stay calm, run back and dodge backwards 3 times. Once he goes back up, run to avoid the after image ground slams, and then follow the same timing to dodge the gravity attacks again. When both his swords go up and glow purple, he's about to do his meteor jam attack. The initial animation does have a hitbox, so be sure to move away if you're too close. After you evade the thrust into the ground, wait for the delay and then dodge into him to avoid him on his way up. Once he's up there, you have a bit of time to heal, but you should start running away from him in a straight line. And once the meteors start coming towards you, cut left or right. Lastly, add a jump in the end to avoid everything. Now this move is absolutely the worst. I could talk forever about how bad it is, but for all intents and purposes, it's nearly impossible to dodge normally. So we should try our best to only get hit by 1 out of the 3 attacks in the combo. Dodge towards the left and dodge forward to avoid the last slash. Second phase adds holy AoEs to this attack, so you might need to double dodge the attacks. There isn't a significant punish window after this combo. His spinning Beyblade move is easy to counter. Dodge into his first slash, dodge left again, slight delay and then dodge left again to avoid both his swords. After a decent delay, dodge left to avoid the double swords. Wait a second to see if he's about to extend the combo for another delayed slash. You will be rewarded with a punish window. A good tip is to dodge towards his left or right, because the second phase has the same move but with light beams attached to the direction of his sword swing. The Stomping Earthquake combo is the move that will put a smile on your face once you see it in the second phase. Dodge into him when you see his foot come down to avoid the cascading earthquake. Short delay and dodge to the left to avoid the sword coming down. Wait a second and then 2 consecutive dodges to the left. There's a big delay when his swords go up, so you could use this time to get in a light attack. Then dodge the last thrust down by going to his side. And as an extra precaution, dodge the aftershock and use the large punish window to your advantage. You might have guessed by now, but in the second phase the attack gets extra light beams, so make sure you keep dodging to his sides. The initial earthquake also gets larger, so dodge into him. Lastly, the aftershock becomes an AoE explosion, so dodge into him to avoid the outward cascading light. A good tip is to look at the initial light beams and dodge when you see them go away. His bread and butter move is a 3-hit combo. He puts his swords down and then follows up with 2 consecutive slashes. This is the same as the Earthquake Stomp. However, the punish window is small at the end and he could continue the combo into the ground slam, so don't get too greedy. This attack also gets light beams in front of him in second phase. When he holds his swords up in the air, he's about to do his pseudo grab. Dodge to his side once his weapon starts moving, and wait for the delay and dodge the ground pound to the side. It's the same for the second phase, but there's holy light beams, so it's best to dodge to the side. His leaping front flip attack is very easy to deal with. He can do it from neutral or after he does a small running away animation. Dodge when he's in the air, but don't go for a heavy punish because he can go up again for an identical front flip. The phase 2 variation has light beams shooting straight, so make sure to dodge to his side. He has a quick slash he does between combos. Just dodge into him, but don't expect a punish window. The second phase adds light beams to it, so make sure you dodge into him. When he thrusts his sword forward, he's about to do a blood flame move. Dodge left to avoid the thrust, and dodge left again to avoid the slash. This should give enough distance to avoid the after explosion. Keep watching cause he will do another attack to follow up. One last attack is a simple one but has caught me off guard cause of the second delay. But he'll do a quick slash and a heavy delayed second slash. If you don't panic, you should be able to identify the attack and dodge in time. The second phase adds light beams to this attack too. A lot of his first phase is pretty simple to deal with, it's just getting used to the moves, but once you have a feel for the timing, you can transfer that knowledge onto the second phase, so it's best to be as clean as possible for the first phase and go into the second phase with as much estus as you can. Second phase is where all hell breaks loose, and it's very demoralizing to die to any one of his crazy attacks. However, chaos is not randomness, and you could methodically break down his second phase to make the fight manageable, so let's go over his new special attacks. At the start of the phase, there's an 80% chance Radahn becomes the Honored One and starts ascending into the air while T-posing. You want to run away as soon as you see this. Keep running till you get out of the blast radius. There's a good window to buff or heal after this attack. This attack is fine as a phase transition, but it becomes very annoying when he's able to pull it out randomly. This move requires you to almost run instantly, so if you think you don't have time, just tank it or heal. I don't have personal experience with this method, but I have seen people shield up and use the punish window afterwards. When you see him put his swords up and they start to glow, you'll hear a distinct audio cue. He's about to do a dashing train light attack. If you've been able to stay beside him, a simple sequence of dodges into him will help you evade this move. If you are caught a bit further out, try to bias the dodge to your right because the light beams propagate from the left. This attack can be pretty annoying because of the light show attached to his dancing flow-like moves. When you see his swords make a plus sign above his head and start to glow, he's about to start a string of attacks. Dodge diagonally to the right when he starts to move forward, immediately dodge right again, continue rolling right to dodge the next string of attacks. But once he goes up, wait for the delay and dodge when he's about to start coming down to dodge the AoE. The Meteor Jam move can be the bane of your run because there are so many moving parts to it. Dodge the initial meteor move the same way as the first phase, but after doing the final jump, keep running away from him to avoid the clones. Keep a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is the Grand Slam. Turn around and dodge into him slightly to the right to avoid the slam and the light beams. Wait until the initial beams go away and dodge again to avoid the AoE. The clones can be annoying, but they don't do much damage, so if you get caught, focus on dodging the last slam. In this phase, Radahn and Mikola get a proper grab. When he does his power stance and starts to glow, he's about to leap up and grab you. It's an easy dodge right as he's coming down. From my experience, the heal or punish window is very minimal after this move. The move has a gimmick that lets you get away for free the first time you get grabbed, but if you get grabbed again, it is an insta-death. When Radahn goes up from neutral or after he runs away, he's about to do a crazy ground slam with clones. The best option is to sprint to the side. Keep a count. 1, 2, 3, and dodge into him on the fourth one. Get ready to read what he's about to do next because he'll most likely go straight into a combo. He has a couple mix-ups for this, so be sure to stay on your toes and dodge into him to avoid the light beams. When a single sword goes up and it starts to glow, he's about to throw a light disc forward. You should dodge fast if you are close to him, but if you are far away, the move is deceptively slow, so be patient and dodge when the disc gets close. He'll most likely go for another move right after this attack. When he makes an inverted L with his glowing swords, he's about to do an area-wide AoE light disc attack. You have to dodge it no matter where you are. The timing is not too precise though, just dodge forward when you see him start to move. If you are close to him, don't go for a punish, because from my experience he likes to go into the grab attack right after. When he runs away or needs to close some distance, he can use his double dash attack. It's easy to identify when he's about to do it because he will light dash perpendicular to you first. There is a slight delay after the initial dash, then you should dodge forward twice, one after the other to avoid his double dash. Going forward will help avoid his light beams. At about a third of his health, Radahn has another guaranteed special move. This move is definitely a run ender if you are seeing it for the first time. However, it's a callback to Kaylee. He'll blast off after making a distinct sword clashing sound. You have a few seconds to absolutely book it. Running away has provided consistent results for me. There is a few seconds to heal or quickly buff afterwards. It's very hard to consistently evade everything in his second phase, but with good enough timing and precaution, you can keep the damage to a minimum. The extra damage negation we talked about before will help make sure the chip damage doesn't add up too quickly. Stick to the gaps you know and punish adequately. The less time you spend with this boss, the better, because there's less chance you'll do something crazy. If you keep a good mentality and focus on learning the timings, you'll have less trouble with this boss. And with that, I wish you all good luck.